Good afternoon, and welcome to Light Reading with Terri Kovalcik, your author and site host. Today I am going to read a section from Junior Hunters at Large, Volume 2. But first I wanted to go over a few things that, although you may not be able to see them at the back, but I am able to describe them to you, because it's important as a writer, and that way you know where we're going and how things look, so we're able to describe them accurately. So, anyways, behind me you'll see the maps, these poster boards that look kind of funny and like horrible drawings, and they are. The only person who would probably have the value of appreciation to them would be a person who's looking to do a layout or wanting to know what things look like if it was to become, you know, a movie or a computer animated movie. So, anyways, so what we have here, so we can join in, is that this is the Watiga Lake Summer Camp, and then there's the mess hall, and we have the roots, so the pink is where they went, and then up here, that's where they walk through, and this is where they do the survival wilderness trip, and then they walk up, and that's all the places, and you can, like, there's a little a legend telling you what's happening on each section. So, and that would have been, that's in the back section of Junior Hunters at Large Volume 2, so you get to take a journey there. And over here we have the Larkin, well, I called them the Larkin residents. I never really came up with a last name for them, but so there it is. This is back in 2008. So that's what their house would look like. And then we have over there is the same thing. And then this is Nanny and Papa's lake lot, the Shepherd Lake, and this is what it would look like. And it's because Charlie goes in the last portion of Volume 2, he goes and spends some time with Nanny and Papa. So, anyways, so we have Junior Hunters at Large, Year of the Sportsman, Volume 2. Touched with Fire Publications. This is, you know, young adult fiction, and you can find it internationally through Amazon. So, begin. There are some pictures. And there, so you can see this is what Kaylee and I mean, I did them, but I had to like add some flair to them because, you know, it's supposed to be a photo album. So, anyways, and then I have it so that she got her thingy, and then she goes and writes on there that she got it the first time, which is, of course, shows the competitiveness, and that's rather funny. And oh, and then this is, I tried to draw a picture of her first mule deer. So we the previous video with Junior Hunters at Large Volume 1, the first reading, that was her mule deer. I know, I'm not very good at it, but, you know, I try. So, and the chapter I want to read, because I do use my experiences a lot of times as a base to add some, you know, character to the book, even though it's fictional. So we do, like, I do use proper information when it comes to in regards to the Young Sportsman's Club. That's important. We need to make sure that we provide accurate information. So not only are we enjoying the read, but we're also learning at the same time. So, anyways, so, oh, and before I forget, when this book was called The Adventures of Charlie and Kaylee, after it was traditionally published, and then it became self-published. So when it was self-published, it was The Outdoor Adventures of Charlie and Kaylee, I believe, and it received a 5 out of 5-star review by Wendy Nystrom, the author of James Saves the Moon, and that's another 5-star out of 5-star book. I haven't had time to post a review on Amazon yet for her, but I did enjoy it. It's a great book to read to kids, and you get to show them lots and lots of pictures. And yeah, all I was going to say is that you should read it, and because I did, and I like it. So, anyways, chapter 18, Bolla, Cella, here we come. Charlie groaned as Dad did his ritual morning wake-up call for family adventures. It was 3 a.m. by the time the rest of the family got their tired bodies into the truck and headed off to Bolla, Cella. They had to leave that early because it was a 6-hour drive, and Dad wanted to be there around 11-ish. As they were heading down the hill on the outskirts of Lexa Creek, they saw two guys staggering the road, waving at them to stop. "I don't know, honey, what do you think?" Dad's voice was worried as he slowed down. "Well, let's see," Lois replied cautiously. One of the guys stood on the driver's side while the other took his place at the passenger window. Dried blood stained their clothing, and one on Dad's side was holding his arm in pain. Dad chanced it and rolled down the window as Mom did the same. "Can you help us?" the man asked Lois. "We rolled our truck about a mile back. The tires caught the edge of the gravel and it pulled us into the bank. The truck must have rolled at least 5 times. Dad looked at Mom. "We don't have any room. Geez, you guys don't look so good." Mom interrupted. "Lexa Creek isn't that far, maybe 5 clicks or so. I wish there was cell phone service out here so we could call 911 for you. How about we turn around and go to the cop shop and get you two some help?" "Yeah, thanks," they replied, sounding relieved and disappointed at the same time. Dad turned the truck around and headed back to the small community. "It'd be quite a walk to town." "Oh, great," he sighed. "There's no policeman on duty. I guess we should have expected that at 5 a.m. "Hey, there's a first aid post," Katie pointed out from her place in the back. "Let's go there." Mom got out of the truck and went to the phone that was placed outside the building and asked the nurse to come down. "Charlie, Kaylee, get out of the truck. I'm going to go get those guys and bring them back here," Dad directed. By the time Dad arrived with the 2 battered men, a police officer pulled in. The nurse was looking at them, assessing their injuries. Not wanting to lose time by sticking around to give statements, Dad reloaded the truck and took off down the highway again. We zoomed past Crow Ridge. Kaylee waved at Grandma and Grandpa's house. "Are we going to see them on our way back?" "We'll see," Dad replied, concentrating on the now potholed and graveled highway. The only thing left along the road was groups of cows and calves who stared at them as they tried to maneuver the truck in between them. The bovines definitely didn't want to budge. Only loud moos could be heard inside the truck as the families barked at them for having the nerve to disturb their morning meal. As they came to the entrance of the Bolla Cella hills, the firs were shorter. However, as they stood side by side like centennials, it looked as if it was a thick wall, as if formed by Mother Nature, blocking the view of the natural fields covered with wild, vibrant hunter green straw and blackened, swampy puddles. The wind picked up and parted the branches, revealing its true depth. "Wow, it looks way taller than it looks." "How tall is that?" Charlie asked. "At least 5 feet, Dad replied. The road began to narrow as they descended the knoll and made their way along the edge of the journeying mountains. Far below were granite boulders and hollow branchless trees. As they rounded the corners, more and more of the beautiful Artichoke River that flowed at the bottom of the deep ravine could be seen. Narrow waterfalls escaped from inside the mountains to join up with so many natural salmon-run waterways. "Gosh, I just can't believe how beautiful it is," Mom whispered in a reverent voice. "Every time we come here, I'm taken away by the serenity and the beauty of this landscape." "There's nothing quite like it," Dad agreed. Even though the dead auburn pine towered above the healthy green trees below, it still made for an awesome view, looking at the clear blue sky, the continuous flow of snow-covered mountains with a layer of fluffy white clouds nestled in between the rising hills. Halfway down the mountain, a scruffy, gangly fox watched the truck slow down. Mom made a strange predator call as the fox walked towards them. Its head was slightly tilted, as if trying to figure out where the sound of dinner was coming from. It was truly amazing to see the animals in their own home. After driving almost to Hogan's barge, there was a break in the wall of impenetrable cedars and poplars showing a driveway. Then the wall began again, allowing the view of another small driveway down the road. This was like living in a private, invisible world where no one could disturb your peace and quiet as long as you stayed behind nature's wall. These unknown homes were hidden in the trees, carried on for several kilometers, but at the top of the tree line, the mountains glistened black from the melting snow. At one point, it looked like a domino of mountains, one after another, enclosing the valley. Stopping at the Row Hotel, the family wanted to have breakfast with the locals. As they entered the restaurant, it felt like everyone in the diners immediately stopped what they were doing, as if their lives were put on pause so all the eyes could focus on the new people in their midst. A gulp came from Charlie's throat as he tried to find a table for them, feeling a bit uncomfortable being in the spotlight. Spying seats in the back, he made a beeline for the table. "How many times, Kaylee, do I have to tell you? I hate being forced into places," Charlie whispered fiercely. "Poor Charlie. He's afraid of people staring at him," she teased. Mom interrupted Kaylee before she could really get a fight started. "Kaylee, don't you need to wash your hands?" Yeah, rolling her eyes, she made her way into the bathroom, with Mom following closely behind. Mom waited until the door was firmly closed. "Kaylee, I'm not going to say this 50 gazillion times, so listen up. If I hear you tease your brother about his anxieties, you'll be left behind in the cabin with no fishing rod or anything else that provides mindless entertainment. Do I make myself clear? You don't have to be so mean. You're gonna make Dad sleep in the doghouse while we're here too? If poor little Charlie gets upset," Kaylee tried to joke, "I'll deal with your father, but as for you, you'd better toe the line. Charlie's been deceiving us by not taking his meds, so every time you tease him, it makes him worse, and I don't need a Grumpy Charlie to do it. This trip is supposed to be for a fun holiday for the family," Mom continued. All right, no more bugging Charlie," Kaylee muttered. "There goes all my fun." Kaylee washed her hands and went back to her seat. Dad had ordered her an apple juice. "Thanks, Dad, just what I wanted." Looking down at the menu, she saw her favorite. Mom sat down beside Dad and saw her coffee was ready for her. "Did I tell you how awesome you are lately, honey? Thanks for fixing my coffee." Smiling, Mom gave Dad a peck on the cheek while Charlie made a face. The waitress rounded the corner and approached the table. "Have you decided what you'd like to have?" Charlie, of course, was the first to speak. "French toast with strawberries and whipped cream." "Eggs Benedict, medium, no hash browns." Kaylee spoke up next. "I'll have bacon and eggs, basted, and white toast," Dad chimed in. "Make mine the same, please," echoed Mom. The food was delicious as usual. It was their Bolla tradition to always eat at the Row Hotel for breakfast. After they headed to their yearly campground, the Irish Bridge campsite, Charlie was rubbing his palms together in excitement. "Oh, this is going to be so great! I can't wait to look at the river, see how many salmon we've been caught, and pick the perfect spot for me to get started catching the biggest coho award. Woohoo!" Mom giggled. "Now that's what I want to hear, happiness. Oh, yeah." They paid for the cab and got their key, and the real fun began. Unloading the truck. "Charlie, where do you think you're going? We need to get this in so I can get to the inflatable," Dad hollered at him. Already halfway to the river, Charlie turned around grumbling. "Oh, yes, more lovely bags to carry in." As he climbed the stairs, Kaylee was on her way down when she pretended to trip. She grabbed the bags that were being pushed at her. "Phew, that was a close one. Thanks, I'll get some more." She knew he did it on purpose, but it was just to see what she would say. As he climbed, okay. I was trying to understand it. So as he climbed the stairs, Kaylee was on her way down when he pretended to trip. She grabbed the bags that were pushed at her. "Phew, that was a close one. Thanks, I'll get some more." She knew he did it on purpose just to see what he would say. Scowling, Kaylee turned around and went back into the cabin. "Where do you want these?" "Just on the floor, thanks," Mom replied. This time she waited until Charlie was in the cabin before she went down the stairs with a great big smile on her face. She grabbed what she could. There wasn't much left, only the oars, fishing rods, net, tackle boxes, and the duffel bag that contained the rubber inflatable. Dad was struggling with the heavy bag, but got it out, opened it up, and started to unfold the riverboat. There were some scratches along the area that was near the opening of the bag. Not giving it much thought, Dad brought out his mini compressor and began to inflate it. This was going well when a loud noise was suddenly heard. Turning back around quickly, Dad saw the huge, unfixable hole in their pontoon. His eyes grew huge. No! Of all the confounded things! Mom raced to the deck. What's wrong? We've got no boat, he yelled. What do you mean? I didn't check the boat over before putting it into the truck. It seems like some mice wanted some rubber for their home, and yeah, no boat, Dad grumped. Can't we just buy one here, Charlie asked. They cost about $1,500, and we don't have that, Dad answered. What about renting one, Kelly suggested. Dad made a series of funny faces before saying, let's give fishing off the riverbank a whirl first. It was mid-afternoon by the time everything was put away and the piece of rubber that was in the back of the truck ready to be taken to the dump. They raced to the shoreline only to see that the river was high. The muddy areas that were once holding spots for salmon had been washed away, and a new shore was forming with fallen trees and branches. Dad zoomed in on the mountain behind the Irish Bridge with her video camera. You could see every granite ledge and every rocky patch between the snow. If there was an animal on the peak, you would have been able to spot it. Tons of broken branches, stumps, even the whole trees littered the other side of the river. Let's go to the airport, Mom suggested. They hopped in the truck and went to Hogan's Barge, past the hotel, veered right at the mini intersection that went to the runway, and entered the parking area for the fishing spot. A couple of small planes were outside the hangars as they walked along the road that separated the river from the runway. Over and under huge cedar logs that had fallen long ago, the family made their way along the footpath. Kaylee stopped and took a couple of whiffs in the steady, calm breeze. There's no dead fish smell. At the fishing hole, what had once been a pool for the salmon to rest was now a shallow, sandy bottom creek, and further down there was no shore to stand on anymore. The muddy river had taken it over. On the other side, to the left, the natural bridge that between the mountains, 3 streams poured into a river before the glacial water landed in a pool from a 30-foot waterfall. The mist from the waterfall was cold and blanketed the pool below, creating a double rainbow. The red and black rock face couldn't be hidden by the trees. The rocks started as a layer in the mountain, then piled themselves around the pool, sparkling with vibrant color. Dad looked at his watch. Let's try one more place. Back on the highway, they passed over a creek that was shallow but looked like a mini rapid because of how swiftly it was draining into the Bolla Cella River only a few kilometers away. Smooth, medium-sized, light brown rocks protruded from the icy waters, making it look like it was almost white with light blue streaks. The foliage along the banks made it impossible to penetrate it, even if they were to catch a cutthroat. That's a type of fish. The last fishing hole for the day was Runner's Island, just past the ballpark, heading deeper into the Bolla Cella Valley. Gosh, it's been a long time since we've been here. What do you think, Lois? 5 years? I don't think we've been here since we bought the pontoon, Dad recalled. Mom agreed. I can't remember the way either. I don't recall seeing the big cedar trail before, but like you said, 5 years is a long time. They walked along the trail, staring at the immense cedar trees that towered over them. These natural giants let small patches of sunlight through, making the foliage grow tall, as if reaching up, starving for the rays of light. After 30 minutes of not reaching any kind of stream, the family turned around and headed back to the truck. Dad saw a road that went right, so they drove that way. The road descended into what was once a small creek that trucks could cross, was now a raging muddy creek that no one would dare to try. It looked too fast to even walk across. He remembered that there was a certain part of that was deep when it wasn't as deep as it is now, but he didn't want to chance it. Backing the truck up the little hill down to the ocean, the family went. The snow-capped mountains looked like a person lying down covered with snow. The pine trees. I was almost done too.